Ben.
Todd.
Got you first that time.
You got me. Look at this. Is this another theater or what? Or what is this?
It's got to be another theater because we're at the ticket booth.
Yep. Look at this. This is awesome. Old timey.
It almost looks like a bank teller or something, right? Like an old style bank teller.
It does actually. But this old admit one. So we are in Delphi, Indiana.
We are.
Where is Delphi?
It's north and a little bit west and northwestern Indiana, kind of.
Not too far from the Kokomo area, actually. A little bit west.
Really, yes, absolutely not too far. It has been a very unfortunate and very sad recent kind of event here. That put it in the news, so a lot of people know about it, but we're not here for that reason.
No, even though they're having a hearing.
They are having a hearing today.
A court case today, right across the street. But we are here at the Delphi Opera House.
That's correct.
We're going to be speaking with Alan McConnell.
Yep.
And he's going to give us a tour here, so you're going to learn a lot about this place. It's a fascinating old building that they've renovated. They've got a gallery. They've got events here that they do, and a lot of photography related things, which I love that stuff. And
yes, you do. And so do I. I love the history of it. There's a lot of history here.
Yes.
We've already gotten just a few little tidbits before we get into the tour, but
we're so excited because when we go to these places and we meet the folks, and we actually have a cool story about where we met Alan.
We do.
You watched our
Indiana State Sanatorium video.
Yes, when we were there, we ran into Alan. He was taking some photography with an old...
He had a really cool old camera setup going on, and of course Ben's like, what is that camera?
I got to talk to this guy, and so we struck up a conversation, and he learned more about us, and we learned more about him, and he's owns part of the gallery, right?
Yes, he is. He's one of the owners of the gallery here in the Delphi Opera House.
Yeah, so we got lucky there. Just sometimes you just got to talk to people and meet new people you never know.
And we just happened to be here the day before the Bacon Festival.
Oh yeah, right? Can we stay the night, Todd?
Maybe we should.
Because that sounds really good in the morning.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
So the Delphi Opera House, the Northern Indiana it's reaching out to us. It wants us to come up here. So we're gonna go check it out, and you're gonna come along with us, and we're gonna learn some fascinating things about this place.
I think I just heard him come back in. You wanna go check it out?
Let's do it.
Let's go. All right, so we're here in Delphi, Indiana, at the Delphi Opera House, and we have Alan McConnell, who is one of the owners of the gallery here, right?
That's correct.
And tell us some more about that.
Well, the whole Opera House was built, this building we're in was built in 1865.
Okay.
The actual Opera House which we'll go up to later. This was first opened, like I said, in 1865, and the first event they had here was the Grand Ball for the returning soldiers from the Civil War.
Wow, okay.
And then they went on with performances for many years. You may have heard of James Wickham Riley.
Yes, of course.
He performed here at least 6 times, they know of. So he's very well, he knew Delphi very well. In fact,
now his performances, they were readings of his poetry and stuff,
readings,
is that correct?
Poems. In 1882, they added the tier flooring. That's significant. So when the Delphi Preservation Society, DPS, got a hold of the building, and many years later were able to do the renovations, which we'll see in a little bit. They had to stay within certain historic parameters.
Sure, right.
But that, being not original, allowed us to go back to the flat floor, which makes it much more versatile. You
right.
put tables in there
right.
and arrange tables, chairs any way you want to.
Sure.
The old windows have been all restored, single pane windows, but so they brought in a company to make, I'm going to call it a storm window, but it's on the inside, that did an outstanding job of not detracting from this archway.
Fantastic.
Yeah, in fact, that's our logo for our gallery.
It's so gorgeous. It's so cool. They're just so big, and I bet they let in so much light, but more than that is just the design.
Yeah.
You know, everything they did back then, when they designed things, it was all had an artistic kind of feel to it. Everything.
Well, one thing I'll show you when we get upstairs, another artistic thing was all the wood grain that they did was faux wood grain.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so when we redid it, we brought a gal in, and she did it all.
Oh
so
my
you'll
gosh.
See that when you go.
That would be a tedious
I'll point that
job,
out.
right?
Oh yeah. The
fantastic.
Medallions. There's 3 of them. 1 here and 2 out of the view. Those other 2 are in bad shape. All made of plaster.
Yes.
Delphi was really noted for its fine quality plaster nationally.
Oh, Oh, I didn't know that.
Still
Okay.
have the limestone quarry, but the lime kilns they had here and stuff.
Yeah.
They were able to sandwich that between plywood, cut it out, and was able to get it down intact and use that as a mold to make the 3 new ones. The stage. So they started renovations. They took these 2 pillars off, and these 3 cross members here. There's a proper name for it. You see how it's sagging.
Yes.
They were able to beef that up. They did that throughout the entire building. In this room, you can see the big I-beam they added.
Yep.
And all new wiring, a new sprinkling system, obviously nicely covered it up. In our room, same thing. So they brought everything up to code, but yet they maintained the old flavor. So you've got the old tin ceiling.
Yes.
Some cases with all its flaws and everything.
Yes.
Adds a little charm to it.
Yeah, the falls are great.
Then they put 2 more of these in and put the pillars back in. So when we get up there, you'll see it's 5 wide.
Oh,
and
okay.
it's substantial. It's amazing how much bigger the stage is.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. This is the coolest part, I like. So you see that trough right there?
Uh-huh.
It's about, it's a metal lined trough. It's about, it's about yay wide.
Okay.
About so deep.
Yep.
And back in the day, they would put lime in there. I'm really simplifying it. Put lime in there and heat it up to well over 1,000 degrees. And the lime would get so hot, it would glow and put light on the performers.
Wow, that is very cool.
Can you imagine the fumes coming off of that? Yeah. Have
And
you
just
ever
the heat, if it's that hot, I mean, just imagine being a performer and being that close to it. You gotta be sweating like crazy.
And careful.
Yeah.
And careful.
Don't
yeah.
fall in.
Yeah, don't fall in, exactly.
Have you ever heard of such a thing?
I have not. I have never heard of
I
that.
bet you have. It's called In the Limelight.
Wow, that is very cool.
That was my reaction first time I heard that. Really? We've all heard
In
that
the
term.
limelight. See, these little tidbits that you learn in dabbling duo. Just can't get enough of them.
Yeah. Our gallery in there was the middle bay storefront. There's 3 storefronts.
Okay.
There's a women's boutique over there now. There's a gallery now. These doors in between, those are all new.
Uh-huh.
And then this room, before the renovations, which it started in 2013, and we finally had our grand opening in October of 2015.
Okay.
So
Yep.
we're coming up to our 9th anniversary. And when they had the grand reopening, first thing they did was have the redo of the grand ball.
Did they really?
So all the gals came in
Okay.
big old gowns and stuff, and the guys had dress period uniforms and things like that.
Actually, I think I saw some pictures of that. We always try to research the places that
Yeah.
we're going.
I'm sure you
I
did.
didn't have a lot of luck researching this place, but I did see a few things, and I think I saw some pictures of that.
You're standing in one. This most recently, people in Delphi remember this as being the drugstore. And then once DPS got a hold of the building, they got a hold of it with the intent to restore it.
Okay.
And it was going to be a long-term project.
Did it sit empty for a while, or do you know?
Yeah, upstairs? Oh, yeah. 'Cause
Upstairs did?
Yeah,
Okay.
because once that closed, well, the fire marshal closed the place back in 1914.
Okay. Yep, I
Because
had read that. Yep.
There was only one stairway, and not this stairway. This is all brand new. There was only one stairway to get up there, and it was a fire trap waiting to happen.
Okay.
In fact, it did happen in some opera house, in one opera house, I think in Lafayette or something. People got trapped, and that woke people up. And
Well, you got a 1,000 degree trough lighting up
yeah,
things.
yeah.
You know,
It was like it finally.
There's so many flammable things in the old theaters.
You're
coal
so
burning,
right about that. Yeah.
Potbelly stoves. Now they called it an opera house. Do you know why they called them opera houses?
I don't, but what I did read was that originally there wasn't an opera house here at first, like back in 1865 is what I read.
Yeah.
I heard that room up there was meant for
Grand-
conferences and balls and things like
That's
that.
why on the outside of the building it's called City Hall.
I was gonna
It's not-
ask you
it's
about
not-
that.
It's not a government building. It was just a place to gather.
So, Ben and I talked about that, and I've never seen a building called City Hall that wasn't used for government. I
Right.
don't know if that's anywhere else, if that ever even existed.
That's
so
a good question.
I wonder why would they put City Hall on it other than just to say, hey, this is where people are going to gather,
Yeah.
So I guess it would make sense.
Different meaning back then.
It did have a different meaning back then. I was telling Ben, when I think of it now, I think of Gotham and Batman and, City Hall, so
Yeah.
or government buildings.
Yeah.
Wow. So then this is the original ballroom,
Yes.
meeting room, whatever they
Yeah,
wanted to use it for.
yeah. Look at the wallpaper.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. You were talking about the wallpaper, and so a lot of this has been refurbished based off of what they saved, right?
Yeah,
What they
yeah.
salvaged.
Well, they mimicked it.
Right,
Yeah,
right. They recreated it based off of what they.
Yeah.
Do you think that back when it was originally done, it had all these different wallpapers, or do you think it was over the years they had different layers?
What I was told, that's the way they originally did it when they really fixed up the stage and made it in a true opera house. They make it they call it an opera house back in the day. Didn't finish that. A lot of people don't know this. I didn't know it until I was told. And that was almost every town had opera houses.
Yes.
This town had 3. One of them doesn't exist anymore, but the other one still does a smaller stage right down the street. And they called them opera houses if it had a certain level of classness, I guess is the best way to put it.
Okay.
So if you were in some other town and you're going to go to an opera house to a show, you weren't going to go in and be surprised, oh, it's a burlesque show or something like that.
Right, okay.
So it didn't really have operas here.
Okay.
Although we did have an opera singer perform here once, but it wasn't a true opera. It does have great acoustics in there.
I mean, it makes sense, and we've been to a couple of other places. In fact, our last video was at the Crump Theater, which is in Columbus, Indiana. And it's a great place. We've spent lots of time there. But it makes sense that in those days, in the late 1800s, you didn't have movie theaters, and the social events of the day were the plays and places like this where people gathered and were entertained by someone,
Which is why one of the reasons Riley was so important. And he nationally known. You know where he's buried?
Is he in Crown Hill Cemetery?
He's at the highest point in Marion County.
Okay.
You go into Crown Hill Cemetery, beautiful. You drive up and he's at that
the
big
top, yeah.
monument up there.
Okay,
He was very famous. And you read the history about this funeral and all that. It was pretty amazing. Too much to go into right now. Oh, over here, you can see all the faux wood grain.
Yes.
You might have the sunlight in your eyes. And I'm going to open these up just so you can see the.
So all of this is fake wood grain.
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
And so we need to clean the windows too. So here's that storm window I was talking about.
Yes. Just for
beautiful
help
shutters.
with the environment in here.
Yeah. Well, they put installed it, and that's got a story too about how they got these beautiful shutters. But when they did install the extra glass, they knew it was going to help with heating, insulation,
Sure.
but it also helped with air conditioning. And the nice surprise was also sound.
Wow.
One of the first performance, the first thing they had here after renovation, I'd already told you, was the Grand Ball, redo of the Grand Ball.
Yep.
The very next weekend was the first performance, and that was with Jeff Daniels and his son's band. Sold out crowd, and he's actually performed here a second time too. But he was starting to play, and as soon as they started, here comes a train.
Of course.
So we got that taken care of now too. And see how it's set up now for a performance. There's a performance this Saturday, tomorrow. After, right in the middle of the Bacon Fest, they have all the bands out there. They're going to have a comedian up here who's done it the last several years.
A comedian, huh?
Yep. This is that limelight tray.
Yes.
So they had some volunteers make it so that our performers don't fall in.
Right.
But see the metal here and stuff.
Wow.
I was a little off on my measurements. A little wider than I said.
Yeah, but that is so.
It's a yay and a half.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't either. So it's
When you think about it, of course they didn't have electricity and things back in the 1860s, indoor electricity, and they would have had to light it somehow. So that just makes perfect sense.
The balcony back there. So all those cast iron balusters, I'm going to call them that. That's probably a proper term for that. So the people who owned this building before DPS got a hold of it, the Bradshaw family. They owned several different buildings in town still, and in fact, some nice homes down there. And they recognized how nice those things were. Nobody ever came up here. I mean, it was a dump. That photo you saw of mine was very cleaned up. Wow. It was it was on the verge of no return. Birds had gotten in here.
Yeah.
It was a mess. So they recognized how nice those were, and there's a house down the street that has this big porch. It's now an Airbnb. They took all their wooden balusters off and installed those around it. So they started getting ready to start the renovations. There was, the picture I have shows the last 7 were the only ones left.
The last 7, what do you mean? The last
Those
7 of
balusters.
those? Oh, okay.
Only 7 of them left.
Wow.
They took one of them off, gave it to a company, and they made a mold of it. And they were going to make it out of some sort of resin material, don't quote me on that. And they were going to use that to make all the new ones.
Okay.
In the meantime, the Bradshaw family donated all those back. For some reason, they kept all their wooden balusters. They could reinstall them on their porch. And they gave all those back. And that money saved from that helped pay for the new shutters. Now,
Very cool.
There are 5 up there that are fake. I can't tell you which ones they are. If you got up there and tapped on them, you'd probably figure it out.
But the rest of those are original.
Yeah.
So I wondered, because this is something that I did not expect. I did not expect to come in and see a balcony level seating area at all up there. It's kind of throwing me a little bit. But do you think that those are original from the 1865 build, or do you think they were put in when this was turned into a theater, or the Opera House, I mean?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have the answer to that.
Either way, they're still probably
very cool,
pre-1900,
yeah.
and they're very cool. So
I have a feeling it was here. Now, these 2 cubby holes,
yes.
okay? One on either side. This one has part of our sound system in it.
Oh, sure.
Good catch, Alan.
Yeah, that was a good catch.
And you can see it's metal lined. Both of them are metal lined from back in the day.
Yeah.
So being metal lined, what would be the purpose of this?
Some sort of fire, I would assume, or to contain fire or something.
This is where the potbelly stoves would have been.
Okay.
You can
So
see
this
where-
would have
you
been
look
their
up,
heating
You see where the
spot.
flue went up
Yeah.
through.
Yep. Makes complete sense.
And back here is the door for where the coal bin was and stuff.
Again, they would have had to heat it somehow, right?
Yep. Back later.
If you didn't know about that, right, those little details in the modern age, someone just walking around, you wouldn't have any idea. But like there are little secrets and symbols and artifacts of the past in these buildings, which I love the most.
You know what? You're so right. And it's so good that we have people like Alan and other people that see places like this and want to preserve that and not lose these things. Because if somebody comes in to redo this and make it modern, it's very easy for stuff like this to just get demolished and wiped out and not kept because they're making it new, right?
But Todd, we recently went to the Crump Theater, which they're trying to renovate that down in Columbus.
They had, or in the
They're
process.
in the process of it. They have been for a while.
And it's those things that they keep discovering along the way and trying to learn about the building. The water fountain.
The water fountain,
discovered.
it operates on a motion thing that was used to make the doors open automatically originally, and they believe it was one of the first set of automatic doors in Indiana. And it's the same technology that opened those doors they now use to turn the water fountain on and on.
Really?
Yeah, just little details like that. It's so cool.
But this is much further along.
Yeah, this is so much further along in terms of the renovation.
The people who were really involved, I mean, I helped, but the people who really instigated, that's amazing what work they went through. Well, the one thing to really put it into high gear, this was going to take forever, but then the group, town leaders, put together a committee of very sharp people, and they applied for the Indiana Stellar Grant. It's a big multi-million-dollar grant that was, I don't know if they do it anymore, offered to 2 towns at most a year. And it's designed to help small towns not die.
You know, it really makes me admire Delphi and for just going through that process of, like you said, that grant writing. I'm not a grant writer, but I know a couple of grant writers, and I know that the process is very involved. It takes a lot.
It is.
And for the people in Delphi to recognize, hey, we can do this and we can do a lot, not just with this building, but with the town itself, and keep it alive. That's fantastic.
There's about a 17-foot screen up there you can't see. And so it's a mechanical screen so they can lower that down. A big projector.
I noticed they had a big projector back there.
Big sound system so they can have presentations, movies, whatever, all sorts of different things up here.
Man, this place is so fantastic. I love it.
Nice modern stage lighting. All the lights in here are LED lights. Everything,
Okay.
like I said, modernized, but maintain that charm.
The look and the charm, yeah. I can see the medallions you were talking about, which were redone.
Yep.
They're fantastic too. So now we're coming into new building.
Yep. And you can see here's the old windows. You can tell some of the windows are old because you can see how some of them start to melt.
Yes.
You know, glass is a amorphous solid and over time.
You know, one of the best things about this is that these are now inside. They're going to be preserved just by being inside now.
Yeah.
And so they're going to last so much longer just by being here. I think that's cool.
A lot of thought went into now this newer part. Besides just trying to maintain the old charm, the functionality of it. So for example, you take a look at all these old windows and where you see this doorway and this new window, there was a window here.
Sure.
Okay, obviously it had to come out because
Right.
they needed to have a door. So what you ask, what's the purpose of this window? It doesn't really serve an actual purpose, but they wanted the architectural flavoring wise as the arch
Sure.
with all the other
Yeah.
windows.
Yeah, looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
we're
and
on
right
stage
here,
right. Yeah. And we're on stage right.
Stage right.
Yep. Come on back here now. This is that old signature part. Signature part. There's a white curtain in the way right now, but we can,
Love being backstage.
yeah.
Oh, yes. That's fantastic.
1884, Union Spy, 3 nights to a packed house. And you'll see all these other signatures. Some of them are kind of weird. Some of them are interesting.
I need to look that as Union Spy, maybe the name of a program or a play or something?
My guess would be a play because it's 3 nights. Well, maybe not.
Or it's maybe
Or
that
maybe-
was his role as a Union spy in a play.
Maybe.
And
Yeah.
they had 3 nights of it.
Here's such and such, 91. That's 1891.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at the drawing here. The face. Man, I'm so glad they were able to preserve this.
Yeah. So in my old photo, my photo downstairs, you saw this.
Right.
And they was
Yes,
able
I was going to
preserve
ask
it.
you about the columns on the wall and everything.
Yeah.
So this mural was probably used
For some
in
sort
one
of
of the-
play, yeah.
play or something and it was just left.
Now down here, you can see what was a doorway.
Oh yeah.
And,
Sure was.
So yeah, here's another one, 1995. But yeah, so this is a door that went into that Crosby Hotel. So this was where all the performers would go. That's their dressing room,
Oh, okay.
and where they'd actually stay. There's rooms they could have. So you can imagine James Wickham Riley going into the one room in the next room over there, which I've been into. It's kind of a neat old place.
Really?
Yeah.
So they would go in and out of the hotel right off the backstage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Couldn't get any better than that.
No, you couldn't.
Well, you want to always tie the.
What's it look like from the other side, though?
It's pretty rough.
Is it?
Yeah. For now, it's still just so we always want to tie in the old with the new. So this tradition of writing your names on the walls and stuff. Remember I said October of 15.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first thing was a redo of the grand ball.
Yep.
Good job, you didn't trip or anything. And then I had to move a few things out of the way. But then the next weekend was first performance. And so they started the whole tradition again, and
On a new wall.
right here is Jeff Daniels.
Jeff Daniels.
Here, all the people who perform here are required to sign the wall. And there's a whole bunch of them here. I don't know if it's
Yeah, there's a ton of them.
nice and easy. There we go. Wide variety of genres and stuff. Like Jeff Daniels, for example, the Metropolis Oboe Quartet out of Chicago.
Oh, an oboe quartet.
Classical. Oh, they were fantastic.
I'll bet.
No amplification at all. Didn't
Right.
need it.
Yeah.
Here's my favorite group, Harpeth Rising. They were 3 girls, beautiful voices. One played the violin, one played the cello, one played the
Oh, I
banjo.
love that. I love the stringed instruments.
And it had the banjo. It's just what a combination.
Yeah.
And
I bet it was good though.
yeah, it was. And they were playing a lot of their own music, but then they also did some cover songs. And they started this one. I said, okay, we're not gonna. There's not gonna be any vocals with this one. They started playing the song. And it's just a beautiful song. I go, now wait a minute. I know that song. What is that? It's the Beatles, Norwegian Wood. I thought, oh my God. Something else.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, if you leave it just like that, and then we can move that right back where it was.
Okay.
Yep. And this goes back
Okay,
right there.
I'm going to take you down this back stairway.
Okay.
But this stairway, you can tell, it's not really meant for the public.
Sure.
This is for the performers.
For the performers,
and
right.
We'll go down. And you come down to the green room.
Okay, yeah, they've got their own little green rooms.
If you walk right on in there,
Yes.
you'll turn the lights on automatically. Dressing
Yeah,
rooms,
so they
got two
can-
of them. There's another dressing room next door here.
So we were just at the Crump Theater, like we had mentioned earlier, right?
Yep.
And their green room, which I don't think we put it in our videos, but we went down, was in their basement. And of course, this building goes back to the late 1800s as well. It opened in 1889, I believe. And their green room space is still in the basement, and it's in pretty, disrepair, but dirt floors,
It's
and,
a
and
cellar.
Basically, yeah. So this compared to that, much different, much different.
Well, so you can see this didn't exist originally.
Sure.
This is that new part.
Right.
A lot of that thought went into this.
Sure.
They like out here. You can see there's speakers and everything. And so if there's a play going on and you're down here, you're part of the play, and you can hear what's going on. Oh, there's my cue.
Right. You
can
get head
back
on up.
there.
Yeah. I thought there was somebody standing there for a second.
Saw him earlier.
Let me see if I can turn the light on.
So this is like a little museum area here.
Yeah.
So this is a photo in front of this building, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in front of the building.
The C.O. Julius.
That's that you'll see the
That's out on the front, right?
on the transom.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Yep. So we dug up a lot of old poems, Riley's poems, that we give to people to do. And we found 3 poems that he did directly related to Delphi. One's called On the Banks of Old Deer Creek. Not creek, it's creek.
Yeah, it's
Proper
creek.
Hoosier.
Yeah. It's hard to read some of his stuff because he does so much proper.
It's extremely, because you're writing dialect.
And some of it's very creepy too.
Yeah.
You're
So-
washing stuff in the creek.
That's right. That's exactly it.
We found 3 of them. So on the banks of Old Deer Creek, because he would come to Delphi and spend time down at the creek down there, either fishing or drawing, painting.
Okay.
And that park down there is called Riley Park.
Oh, okay.
Because it's famous. Another poem, he became good friends with a doctor here, and they would take these horseback riding adventures. And one, I think it's on the road Delphi to Camden, it's called, on a road that doesn't even exist right now.
Right. Yeah.
And then the third poem I found was called Curly Locks, and that was a poem he did for his girlfriend he had here.
Really?
Yeah, so he had other reasons to come to Delphi.
Apparently so.
Never married, but
Yeah.
so yeah, it was a nice connection there. So
Is this a representation of Riley?
yeah, that's Riley. That's a picture of Riley.
I mean, do you think it's like the
How
same
tall?
size? And
That I couldn't tell you.
That's why
Probably
I guess I
pretty
should have
close.
phrased that better.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have been very good at reading the stuff, though. I mean, I've tried to read some of his stuff.
that's why I was the MC.
Was he here on the 29th?
Yeah,
Is that
one of them. Yeah. This
I saw this when we came in, and I was hoping you would tell us about this.
is a donation. So a former teacher, he's now since passed away, Norm Miller, great guy. Everybody knows, all the students know from years some of the things that Norm did. His dad acquired this. This is a Regina music player. He acquired it, if I have the story straight, his dad acquired it in 1954 down in Rockville somewhere at an auction or a sale or something along that line. Got passed down to Norm. Norm had it in his house for a long time, and his wife, him and Jane, it's a big thing. It's just just a little bit too big for their house. And they asked their grown kids, hey, do you guys want it? They all go, well, we don't have room for it. And they were members of DPS as well. So by then they had the building redone, and I go, it's a perfect spot for it.
Yes, it is. It's a
And so
perfect
you,
spot for it.
Excuse me. And so the woodwork and everything, and you open this up,
Oh my gosh.
and the extra discs are upstairs, but this is where you'd store the other disc.
Oh wow! So it's got different discs that
Yeah,
you put in
yeah.
for different music. Okay.
The original CD.
The original CD.
Well, it would be a
Or-
D. A D. And I'm not going to do it, but to disconnect and you take it off. This was made in 1896.
Wow. Yep. 1896.
And I give it just let me see if it'll. Give it just a little bit of a crank. If you go too far and break the spring, it's done for.
yeah.
Then you have to give it a little nudge.
sounds amazing?
Oh my.
that something?
That is crazy.
Come on, you can do it. That might be the end of it, yeah.
So does the gallery have a website?
Yes.
Or a place to visit that with? Can you tell us what that website is?
It's really pretty simple. It's the Opera House Gallery.
Okay.
Not Delphi. Don't say Delphi. You say Delphi Opera House, you're going to get this,
Right.
which is okay too. But the Opera House Gallery of Contemporary Art. Yep.
There you go.
Yep. And,
So if you want to find that, there you go.
Todd?
Wow, man. This place is so cool.
So if I'd say the trip was worth it coming up here. Really,
sure.
it didn't take us long to get up here. Delphi, it's my first time in the city, so we're going to go around. Would we call this a city? It's more of a town, right?
Yeah.
The city of Delphi is the seat of this county. And if you're going to be
Carroll
here,
County.
Yep. If you're going to be here, I would come in August, like when we're here.
Right? That's when Alan's having his shows and the Bacon Festival,
Yep.
and they have some other things, some pilgrimage days, I think, or something like that.
And if you're here, come and say hi to Alan and check this wonderful, beautiful building out. They've put a lot of work. And Todd, we've said it before, this is the stage that obviously shows all the hard work.
Yes.
But if you can get these old buildings in this stage where the community can enjoy it and be a part of that history.
Well, every renovation we go to, this is the goal, right?
Yeah.
This is the goal state of what they want. But getting there is a lot of work and a lot of money. You know.
And what is it, 2015, so we're looking at 9 years that they've been open and they've created this wonderful place. And we've been in a lot of buildings that has been run down that they're trying to revive. So it's a kind of a breath of fresh air to see what
a completed project,
what it could
basically.
be.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's never completed, right? But there's just, and even as amazing as it is, what I enjoy the most about these, and we talked about it during the tour, is the little things, right? That the little signs of the past. And if you're paying attention, you'll see it.
The wallpaper.
Yeah, look at the ceiling here. You don't get this today, you know?
No.
And
the medallions on the ceiling.
Yes.
The little frescoes or whatever they're called in the front here. We talk about all that in the video.
And what about the limelight? Holy cow.
Yeah, the limelight. That was so cool.
Dude, I know a lot about theater history, and Alan gave me that piece of history. I
had never known.
I'm going to be telling everybody about that.
I know, right? Yeah. So during our tour, Alan was telling us so many different things, and it was so cool. He did such a great job. But one of the things he was talking about, Ben, this kind of ring a bell for me, is during the process of this, at one point they had an event where they came up and they did a silent movie up here.
Yes.
And the place wasn't done. You know, it was still kind of in its old state. But from a paranormal sense, think of the triggering that would do. If paranormal is a thing and you're trying to trigger ghosts, I mean, that's the way to do it. Have a silent film.
No ghosts in this building that we know of.
Nope.
But
Alan said there's no stories of anything here, which is fine.
But you know what?
Still a beautiful place.
The history and seeing this place, if you're around this area, I would check it out. It's amazing.
Completely worth it.
Go to the gallery, see what they got there, come here and say hi, and definitely book a seat and come to an event.
You see a big building that says City Hall on it, you'll know that's it.
We talked about that in our short.
We did.
So we haven't talked about it yet, but the building actually does say City Hall on the outside. But back then, as we said, it has nothing to do with the governance here.
Nope.
In fact, isn't it across the street, the actual courthouse?
Yeah, the square is right across the street where the courthouse is. So.
And Delphi is fortunately or unfortunately famous for a couple of different reasons. But had I known about just this area and the square is beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah.
So,
and there's so many old homes here. Alan was talking about they're having an old home tour here real soon. And I saw pictures online of some of those houses, and they're fantastic.
And I know you're like me, but if you guys are the same way, I love going into an old town that I've never been to and going around and seeing the architecture of the old houses around, especially around the town square, because that used to be where the prominent people would live.
Right.
And I always is that the mayor's house? The old, but definitely check it out. And we hope you enjoyed this video. For more information about this place, the Delphi Opera House, including the gallery, I'm going to link it down in the description below. Let us know what you think if you've been here. What you think, have you been here when it was back in its old stage of disrepair?
Or maybe you've been here to see a more modern show, one of the bands that have been here.
And if you haven't, the new facade of all the buildings, just worth coming and checking out, and all the new shops around here. So
fantastic.
Yeah, enjoy. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Hear the sound.